My dear friend in Christ, there is a story told about a preacher who was so filled with the fervor and profound spiritual experience and feeling a very deep communion with God. So he decides to climb up a high mountain. And when he goes up there, he feels a deeper communion with God and he enjoys the experience so much that he decides to stay on the mountain top. Down below, his congregation and his community members were struggling with many hardships, with joblessness, with family conflicts, with financial problems, with sickness, with poverty, with homelessness. So one member of the community decides to go up the mountain and tell this pastor, this preacher, something. So this member goes up the mountain. He meets the preacher and tells him, "Pastor, it is wonderful that you are having a very powerful God experience here up the mountain. But God needs you down here. You need to come down and make your God experience work among your people who are struggling." Yes, my dear friend in Christ, look at the Gospel of Luke chapter 9 verse 28 to 36. It is about the transfiguration of Jesus on the mountain, and Peter, John and James are so engulfed, so excited to see Jesus in all his radiance, talking to Elijah and Moses. And they just want to remain there up the mountain. In fact, Peter says, "Master, it is wonderful for us to be here. Let us make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." As Peter was speaking, a cloud overshadowed them, and they were gripped with terror. My dear friend in Christ, isn't it true that we all desire, we wish for the mountaintop experience? And what could be that mountaintop experience? Is it power? Is it position? Is it fame? Is it prosperity? Is it influence and moving around with big people and having big connections, big money, big qualifications? Whatever it is, Jesus says, sorry, that's not what the Christian calling is all about. That's not what Christian discipleship is. Elijah and Moses were telling Jesus up the mountain there what was going to take place in Jerusalem and about his departure from the world. Look at verse 31. In fact, Jesus later talks to his disciples about his passion and death. My dear friend in Christ, let's think about our own lives as Christians. Are we stuck up the mountaintop, that we have lost our connection with one another? Have we lost our focus of loving and serving one another with a spirit of sacrifice and self-giving? What are we busy with? Success or service? Yes, what are we busy with? Success or service? I like to conclude with the beautiful words of Saint Mother Teresa of Calcutta. She said, "God has not called me to be successful. God has called me to be faithful." She said this very often in response to the immense amount of suffering that she and her missionaries of charity congregation encountered while serving the poor and the downtrodden. Think about this today. Has God called you to be successful, or has God called you to be faithful? Yes, has God called you to be successful, or has God called you to be faithful? May you have a good and godly day.